Wow. What's up? It's your boy Sino here. Let's talk about it. Man, Lisa Bonet. When the Cosby Show first aired, Lisa Bonet was the one mostly everybody talked about. Because she was the teenage daughter that we saw. So before we saw, they added Sandra, the oldest daughter. She was the oldest daughter. Then there was Vanessa, and then there was Rudy. Now, needless to say, the show was a hit. But just because you're on a hit program does not guarantee success in Hollywood. You could be the biggest star on the show, and it means absolutely nothing. Lisa Bonet, who played Denise, had to learn this lesson the hard way. Denise was young, and Lisa Bonet were two different characters. But when people see her, they think, hey, look, there's Denise. But Lisa was entirely different from Denise. She was a lot more experimental, a lot more inquisitive. She wanted fame. She loved the fact she was in magazines. She was in the Right On and Black Beat magazines all the time. She loved that. She would go out and buy every magazine they had a picture of her in. As any teenage girl would do. And she always felt that Bill tried to, treat them as if they were his children and put rules and what you can do and what you can't do outside of the show and was very dominant into their lives. And she thought she was going to break out and be this big star, taking this big movie role with Robert De Niro called Angel Heart. And we kind of went over the beef with her before. But this is pointing out something that she's talking about now and the reason why she's like bitter at Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby never did anything to her. He never did anything of that nature as far as what he's locked up for. No, never did that with Lisa. She knows that, so she can't even say it. But she's upset because she feels he torpedoed her movie so that she had to come back to being Denise and stay Denise forever. Then, when she became Denise for a different world, and the fact that she was pregnant, he fired her from being Denise because she went to have a baby. But the problem was not Bill. She thought Bill altered her entire film career. But what she learned is, and I wanted Lisa Bonet to know this, and I'm quite sure she should have figured it out by now. Bill had a lot of brass back then, but Bill Cosby did not control Hollywood. Bill Cosby, as big as he was on television, Lisa, all this man movies bombed. Ghost Dad bombed. What was the one before that? Leonard Part 6 bombed. So he didn't do too many theatrical movies. And they might have been great movies. Not Leonard Part 6. No. In case you're wondering, there was no 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They started it off with Leonard Part 6, where he's like this James Bond spy. It was really dumb. I mean, really dumb and bad. Now, besides all that, besides all that, Lisa had to find out a painful lesson that's been going on through Hollywood. Just because you're on a hit program, you don't does not mean you're gonna get money, Lisa. Or the Hollywood's gonna open up its doors for the big screen. Henry Winkler, who played the Fonz, he had to go through this. Okay? He had to go through it. He was the Fonz, the biggest thing in the world. So when the show ended, he was like, all right, here we go. No one was checking for him in Hollywood. It took 25 years later for him to actually get taken serious. They typecast him as, well, if we have a Fonz type role, they didn't give him a shot of being an actor. They thought this is all he could do. Now you see Henry Winkler in everything. But how many years did he miss? Like 20, 30 years. Phone's not ringing. And for him to get the Emmy, he put it on his table. So when anybody come to his house and he opened the door, they could see that Emmy. Because he had the longest streak of a lot of people who never got it. Now, we look at Tommy from Power. You guys saw it live. I went there and watched Power live. The last episode Tommy was in. He paid for the entire movie theater. And you guys know because we were there. He's from Chicago. Well, he's from Wilmette, but it's still Chicago County. Now, here's the situation. Tommy from Power, he went ahead and he told everybody, he sat down and said, I'm on one of the number one shows in cable television in Power, right? After being the number one person on the show, you know, having the number one show, not the number one person, but the number one show. He went on 30 auditions, 30, and only got hired for one job. And he told us, he's like, I'm on Ozark. He's in season 3. That was the only job he got out of 30 auditions that he nailed. So it does not mean you're going to have success in everything else. Because they only see him as Tommy as pal in Power. And when he took the Ozark role, you know, and that was on the table. He was basically playing the role that he just like, it's not all that. Let's not get all into it. It's not all that. The role that's there. It's just, it was work, and they needed a person to play sort of a Tommy type of role. So he just took it. So for Lisa, she should know to harbor that type of bitterness does not make sense. She came back after a long, long time into movies and played in Will Smith's movie where she was in it for like 30 minutes. The one with him and Gene Hackman. She played a ex-girlfriend of Will Smith. Then she was on Ray Donovan. She was there but she played the weirdest role ever. A sister that was like in love with her brother, biological brother, and just messing his head all the way up. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy show. I mean, it's seasoned. Now, on that note, I'm gonna get out of here. Just wanted to bring that reality to people. So it's not guaranteed you're gonna be a success. We can go 1,000 times over. Take Kirk Cameron. Everybody used to love Kirk Cameron on Growing Pains. Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell. It's a lot of things going on that people just don't know about in Hollywood and television. It's not always the same. But seeing it firsthand when you know people who were very successful in television and tried to make a splash in Hollywood, how it didn't work for them, and watching how the pitfalls were, and if you don't, follow the line, you could fall off track. So, on that note, I gotta go. Don't forget, my Cash App is Carcino. And don't forget, you could always hit me up on my Patreon. We got some great things coming there. Like the video, and thank you.